Apparently everything we started doing with this video has disappeared. But we have some pictures. I'm just going to give some explanation on what's going on. I'm gonna cut down the burl that's on the tree that you see there. So I need to shovel away some snow to get down to the root. And now I'm starting to cut it down. I remove all the smaller stuff. On the middle of the tree, on the burl I mean, it has a large fungi infection. So my thinking was that the burl would be nice. Birch can get a bluish tint to the wood, the spalting, or a whitish or black. That was my hope. So I decided to take this down. It's a fairly old birch, and we don't, of course, nothing goes to waste. The rest of the tree that I don't use, cut up for wood. I have cut down trees before, but my dad can't, let me do my thing. So he's gonna be there and instruct me, even though he have instructed me like a million times before. It's good. It's for safety and all. But you can see I am not. You should wear safety things. The boring part with that we don't have the video of it, but so now it just lies there. We had videos and everything, as I said, but it's disappeared. We haven't been able to find it, and it was 2 winters ago we did this. When you transport this, you do it with a snowmobile, and it have to be a specific length. So I'm cutting the logs into good enough lengths. And here we have a short video why we started to. You see, there's the thingy that you transport the timber logs on, because you can't reach that place with a tractor. Now we're in the woodworking shop, or whatever you call it. The burl was very bad. It was rotten all the way. As soon as I just cut it in half with a chainsaw, it was so rotten that I could put my finger through it, and it had gotten weak, and when it gets weak it cracks, and when it cracks it will start to gather moisture in there, and then the moisture will expand and crack it even more when it gets frozen. The burl sucked. Now this is just a small piece from it, but all the black stuff, that's just very rotted wood. And you can see here how the piece gets smaller and smaller, but I think that's the piece that I will use later. I guess that's it. It has been in the freezer for probably like 2 years. It's not because of any reason, it's just because I haven't had the time to continue the work on this. And if I remember correctly, the burl that we cut down, the birch, it was old and had rotted very much. So we'll see if I can even get something out of these pieces. But the idea now is to start to carve. So we're gonna start with this one. And this is very rotted here. It's spongy. So I'm gonna start with carving that away and see if there is something to work with. Yeah, so I'm starting to wondering how far the rot goes, so I'm gonna remove the bark on this side and see if it's rotted. And it does seem that the rot doesn't penetrate all the way through here, so it probably stops. And I'm starting to think if probably it would be best as a bowl. So in that case, I'm gonna start flattening it here. Since this is going to be a bowl and I'm gonna keep it with the natural shapes that it had, the only thing that's left on the outside is to do some sandpapering. Sand it, and so I'm gonna continue with the inside of the bowl with one of these. It's very awkward holding one of these and doing the gouging. I have gouged it out, maybe, and and for drying I'm leaving quite thick walls. So, I mean, I normally do it for so it don't warp so much when it dries. But also, if it for some reason cracks, then you can have some. Then you can try to sand it away. So I'm gonna bury it in this and leave it there for about maybe 4 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks. It depends on the thickness, and this is a small piece, so it will dry up pretty quickly. But not too quick. You don't want that, because then it cracks. So that's why I dry it this and for a long time. Slow process for drying. It cracks the least then, and it warps the least. So I'm gonna mark it also, so I remember which one it is, and I write down and the date when I put it in. It had now dried for 4 weeks plus 3 weeks because we haven't had the time to do this part. So now I'm gonna sand it. So I'll start with the rough sandpaper. If I regret a decision I made on the design, I can easily rectify it with the sanding tools. Before, I mean the first 2 or 3 years I started carving, I only used the hand sandpaper, so you know, the ordinary sandpaper. But it requires so much time. So I found this machine, and yeah, I'm never going back to hand sanding. I accept the finishing part when I go to the finer sandpaper, then I use hand. But then you're not gonna remove. Then it's just for making it smooth. Yeah, so now I've done the outside, and now I'm gonna use this tool to remove the excess wood on the inside so it gets thinner. And this is probably frowned upon by purists because, you know, it is kind of like a hand tool, but it's not the old-timey thing. But I don't care because I don't carve for that kind of things. Now this is dry as it gets, so it's much harder, and then I don't want to use hand tools because I don't like it. You can hurt yourself quite a bit because you can hop, so keep a firm grip. And yeah, and I have this is for the dust, so it doesn't get, and you should have a mask when you do this. And it's a 50s. It's very rough. And it's supposed to take away all the edges from before I use this kind of thing, because the edges could get stuck here and just rip the whole thing. So sometimes if you're not satisfied with the thickness, then you redo it. And now I'm just gonna go on to a smaller one. Another grit. I think that's the word for the sandpaper. And continue down, so it isn't anything special now, so we're not gonna film this. This is basically now it's just get it smooth and get rid of the edges around here. Yeah. So now I'm gonna use this sand machine to get it leveled, the bottom. Now I'm done with the finest grit on the machine. So now before I start to hand sand, I'm gonna wet it with a moist rag to get the fibers to stand out, and then I'm gonna sand away them and repeat that process for about 6-7 times. And you need to let it dry completely before you sand it. And don't over wet it, because then depending on what kind of wood you have, it can start to crack. Like pine burls, if you wet that too much when it's dry without any finisher, then it can crack. So now this is gonna stand and dry for a couple of minutes. For the finishing step, I'm gonna use oil mixed with beeswax to do the finishing touch. And this is like satisfying, because now you really bring forward the colors of the wood. Like you just rub this in, and it smells really nice. It's kind of slippery. Yeah, so now this is gonna sit and soak it in for about 30 minutes, and then I will remove the excess of it with a paper towel.